Have you ever really noticed how the English language builds words? I mean, it seems pretty simple on the surface, but sometimes the tiniest little pieces are actually pulling double duty, following these hidden rules you might not even realize are there. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most common examples.
So let's dive right in with a suffix you see all the time, er. It looks harmless enough, like it only does one thing. But as you're about to see, it's actually got two completely different jobs.
And here is the puzzle. On one hand, you can add "er" to an adjective, like old, and you get older. It's still an adjective, right? But then you take what looks like the exact same suffix, stick it on a verb like teach, and bam, you get a noun, teacher. So what's going on? How can one little suffix do two totally different things?
This really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. In language, just because two little pieces look identical, it does not mean they do the same job. Looks can be really deceiving.
So, how do we solve this thing? Well, it all comes down to understanding that a suffix can have two very distinct jobs. To get there, we need to look at what linguists call morphemes. They're just the smallest units of meaning in a language. Let's break down the two types that solve our puzzle: inflectional and derivational.
First up, we've got inflectional morphemes. You can kind of think of these as your grammar tools. They just add a bit of grammatical info, like tense or making something plural, or in this case, a comparison. But, and this is the key, they never change the word's basic category. An adjective like old is still very much an adjective when it becomes older.
And on the other side, we have derivational morphemes. These guys are the real word builders. They create totally new words, and in the process, they can, and often do, change the word's grammatical category. So, by adding our little "er" to the verb teach, we derive a brand new thing, the noun teacher.
Okay, so we've got two kinds of suffixes. But what happens when we need to use both of them on the same word? Turns out there's a super strict, non-negotiable rule about the order they have to go in.
Let's take the word teachers. You can't just slap the suffixes on in any old order. There's a sequence you have to follow. Step 1, you start with your root word, teach. Step 2, you add the derivational suffix, to build the new word, teacher. And only then, as the very last step, can you add the inflectional suffix s to make it plural, teachers.
This brings us to a really simple but powerful rule of thumb. You always build the new word first using derivation. Then you add the grammar using inflection. It's always build the word, then add the grammar. Now that we've got the rules down, let's actually put this into practice. We're going to take a whole sentence and break it down to see how all these different parts work together out in the wild.
The teacher's wildness shocked the girl's parents. Seems pretty straightforward, but it is jam-packed with all the different types of morphemes we've been talking about. So let's deconstruct this thing, piece by piece.
All right, let's break it down. In teachers, we start with the core word, the lexical morpheme, teach. We add the derivational to make the noun teacher. And then we add the inflectional possessive s for the grammar. For wildness, we take the adjective wild and add the derivational ness to create a new noun. With shocked, we're just adding the inflectional ed to the verb shock to show it happened in the past. We haven't made a new word. And you can see that same exact pattern with girls and parents, where we're just adding grammatical info about possession and being plural.
Okay, so based on everything we just pulled apart, take a second. Pause if you want to. How many separate, distinct morphemes did we just find in that one little sentence?
If you counted 13, you got it. That's right, 13 individual units of meaning all packed into just 7 words. That's what's so cool about understanding this stuff.
So we've covered a bunch of new terms. Let's get them organized with a simple map. You can think of this as your personal guide to the world of morphemes.
Here's how it all fits together. At the very top, morphemes are either 3, meaning they can stand alone as a word, or bound, meaning they have to be attached to something, like a suffix. Our main words, like teach, are lexical free morphemes. Little grammar words, like the, are functional. And then our bound morphemes are the two types we just mastered: derivative suffixes for building new words, and inflectional suffixes for adding grammar. See, it all fits.
All right, time for a quick practice round, just to make sure this is all sticking. In the word older, is that suffix derivational or inflectional? It's inflectional, right? Because old and older are both still adjectives. The word's category didn't change at all.
Okay, what about our original example, teacher? Here, the is definitely derivational.
And why? Because it took the word from a verb, teach, and turned it into a whole new category, a noun.
Last one for you, a little bit of a curveball. What about the prefix un in unhappy? That one's derivational. It creates a new word with a new meaning, even though in this case it doesn't actually change the grammatical category. Happy and unhappy are both adjectives.
And there you have it. You now have the basic tools to deconstruct pretty much any English word. With this map, you can start to see the hidden architecture in a language all around you. Next time, we'll take these new skills and use them to analyze even more complex sentences and find some really fascinating patterns.